I think a lot of hires, you have to have the right fit. You know, you can look at wins and losses, you can look at recruiting, you can look at a lot of things, and all those matter. But I just thought Zoe was the right fit. It worked before. No reason why it can't work now. I think he's a better coach than he was back then, even because he's had more experience, and he wanted to be here. It wasn't like you're forcing him or contractually trying to figure out how we get him here. It was a mutual agreement that he wanted to be here, and I know our fans appreciate him and know that he's successful and was able to get it done before, so they had faith in him.
You mentioned that he wanted to be here. Given what the program has gone through with some of the lack of fans and whatnot recently, how important is it to have a guy that's not looking to come here and just say, all right, one good year and I'm out of here, somebody that wants to be in town? I mean, how much emphasis was put on that?
Well, we talked a little bit about attendance, and we talked a little bit about how we can get more fans there, but it really wasn't so much about doing well and leaving. That really wasn't, we didn't really talk about that. Again, we always are going to have that issue. If you do really well, you're going to have opportunities. If you don't do really well, we're going to have opportunities, right? So we just have to help him be as successful as we possibly can, and we're all going to like that, right? If he succeeds, then they have opportunities. And again, I think Zoe wants to be here. I think he's been there before. He knows what that is. But if he can get this thing rolling and get going and have the fans behind him, I think that's what he really wants. It's just show him some love, show him some support, and then he'll put a good product out there, and I think that's a good marriage.
He was actually asking us what we think we need to do to get fans in the building, you know, so he's already thinking about it. Something that jumped out to me from the contract details were the incentives that you guys are giving him for potential attendance averages. Was that something that you guys wanted to put in? Is it something he asked for? What were those discussions?
Yeah, good question. Originally, we just had our same language in there before. So then again, when you talk to agents, they look and see what happens in everybody else's contract. So you'll probably notice that that contract wasn't exactly the same as it was before. So there's a little bit of mutual going back and forth between the agent. And again, it wasn't really different in the concept, it was just different in the thresholds, right? So again, it was talked about, but that wasn't what we talked about. That was more of an agent looking at it and just decided to put those incremental numbers in there. So we were fine with that. We all win if those numbers go up, right? So that's really where that came from. It wasn't so much, boy, we're both worrying on those numbers and trying to put those thresholds in.
Sure, but you'd be happy to give that bonus out, of
I would
course.
love to. Yes. You're exactly right.
A little bit off topic, something I wanted to ask you just generally about searches. I know that the last few men's basketball coaches, things haven't gone the way you wanted, but on the women's side, it really couldn't have gone any better the last 3 times, right? Did you take anything from maybe something you guys did on that side and try to apply it to this search? Were they always the same? I was just curious if there was any differences, considering how much success you've had on that side with hires.
Yeah, I think part of our reason that we have been successful on the women's side is history and tradition. Okay. You can't buy that, right? We've had that. People know the history that we've had. They also appreciate the fact that we love women's basketball here. So you have a good crowd, and the women's basketball industry knows that. So those 2 things are important. And then the third thing is, once Kelly did as well as she did and was able to move on, then you can move on. So coaches within the industry see that, and you can move on. That makes the job even that much better. So those 3 things, I think, are critical as to why maybe we've done better on the women's side than we have on the men's side.
Sure. Okay. And then I guess last thing for you is, what's the sense you've gotten? This was a pretty big crowd here today. I'm getting the sense that people are excited. Are you getting the same sense that people are thrilled about this? I haven't seen a lot of negativity. And then again, you see all sides of everything. What's the sense you've gotten from this?
Yeah, it's been extraordinarily popular, and I'm happy about that for our fans. Not so much me, and not so much Cliff and the university. Certainly that's the case, but I want our fans to be supportive and have that energy to want to come out and support him. That's the biggest thing. It's always about how can we make our team more successful and our coach more successful and our fans happy. If we can accomplish those things,